Hey, just want to provide some resources for a conversation that I'm having on a regular basis with my athletes about carbs, sugars, and the glycemic index. And in summary, a lot of those foods that we eat that might be called by different names, starches, sweets, sugars, junk food, whatever, a lot of that stuff, it actually just all goes into your body and becomes the same thing, which is glucose. So that's what we're going to talk about. And whatever food you're talking about, whether it is a sugar or a sweet or a simple or slow or complex carb, all of those things in that category tend to just end up being glucose in our bloodstream. Once it's in our bloodstream, it kind of does the same thing. What really matters is the speed at which it enters our bloodstream and the volume at which it enters our bloodstream. So for the speed at which it enters our bloodstream, let's look at the column on the left. That's the glycemic index, and that's going to show foods with higher numbers tend to absorb more rapidly into our bloodstream, and foods with lower numbers tend to absorb a little bit slower into our bloodstream. So that will show you the speed. And if you look at the column on the right, that's the glycemic load. So that'll actually show you how much sugar is within those foods. So a food may not actually it may have high glycemic, but be low glycemic load. So we're worried a little bit about both of them. Once our food has been turned into just plain old glucose and it's being absorbed into our body at a certain rate, the faster that rate is, it's going to cause a bigger production of insulin within our body. And what that insulin is going to do is it's going to help usher that blood glucose into cells to be utilized as energy. Now, what's going to happen is if we have way too much, like really high blood glucose and a lot of insulin to go with it, is what we're going to do is we're going to be good at absorbing and storing that energy, not as glucose, but actually as fat. So that can be why sometimes those simple carb foods that digest and absorb really quickly can cause issues or just the abundance of fat tissue. So that's something to watch out for as well. So we're not just worried about body fat and how you look when you're in your swimsuit. We're worried about health as well. So another couple of issues that come with taking in simple carbohydrates, sugary foods, is that when your blood glucose levels spike, you're actually going to start having some mental effects. You'll have a dopamine release, which will feel good and great, but then you're going to have a crash. You're not going to feel good and great, and then you're going to be almost like addicted to that sugar, right? So we want to watch out for that. And then a separate but also concerning cycle would be the stress and stress eating cycle, which is pointing out that you get stressed out, your body, just from an evolutionary programming from way back in the day, we get stressed. We want high calories to help make sure that we're going to be able to manage that stress. And as we eat those high calories, the process that's actually is a stressor as well. And then that process is going to go around and around, and we're going to have some issues. And last but not least, I want to encourage everyone to don't fear that sugar. I would say probably for most of us, less is more. But if you're a young athlete, you're training multiple times a day, you've got the metabolism for it, you've got the energy output for it, you can probably get away with treating yourself a little bit more often. However, there's other fuels that may be more beneficial than simple sugars. So look for maybe some of those more complex carbs, maybe some healthy fats. But again, everything in moderation, and just good luck if anybody wants to do a food journal and send that my way. I'd be happy to help.